Marie Teasley.
Hi, Anne-Marie. Welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Not bad. Not
That's
bad.
good.
Thank you. Anne-Marie, formerly known as the AM now AMX.
Yes.
Did I get everything right?
Yes, you did.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for being here and
No,
taking
thank
the
you.
time during this crazy busy week for everyone. I
Of
know how
course.
it can be.
My pleasure.
Speaking of that, how much far in advance do you prepare yourself for this week? Mentally, emotionally, physically?
This year, I was honestly kind of last minute with a lot of things, but I typically start a few months in advance. Me and my sister kind of start planning in February or March, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Yeah, because I know a lot of things can happen during that week, so I can only imagine like what it
Yes.
takes for the
A
preparation.
lot of preparation.
Yeah, yeah. So you just mentioned your sister and
Yes.
your sister Ash, also known as Ash Lauren. for
Ash
people.
Lauren, yes.
She was one of my first guests on the podcast, and she mentioned the Techno Sisters.
Yes.
And before we get into that, I'm wondering individually, like your musical story, like or your upbringing, if you can tell
Okay.
a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm the oldest of four children.
Oh, there's more of you. Okay.
Yes, there's two girls and two boys. So the two girls, me and my sister Ash Lauren, ended up being super close, and then the two boys, Anthony and Ashton, ended up being super close. But we all love each other the same. So anyway, I was born first, and I happened to see some kids playing a violin on the TV, and I bothered my parents every single day until they would buy me a violin. And I got that violin when I was almost 4.
That young?
Yeah, yeah. So they were super supportive. They got me in Suzuki method lessons, and
Can you 2 seconds? What
Yeah.
is that?
so Suzuki is a form of music where you don't read it; you go by ear.
Okay, there's a term for it. Okay,
Well, in
I
that
did not know.
arena, yeah, it's really popular in the Asian community and in California because we spent some time there. And they took me to these classes where you have a master who plays in front, and then all of the children kind of mimic the master until everybody correctly gets it right, pitch wise, finger placement wise, and you kind of go from there. And then eventually I graduated to a private tutor where I started learning how to read and write music. Yep.
And I'm sure, or I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know. Your family was like very musical also, or just like music
No.
always around,
My
or like
parents
the
are
radio.
no, they are not artists at all. So they kind of thought I was crazy. My dad, though, I can give him credit. He has a really good ear. Like the music that he plays in his office, you can kind of hear in my sister's sets the very old school Detroit melodic and jazzy aspect. Mine is a little different. For some reason, I loved darker sounds. So I would kind of just improvise, and I would go in the bathroom because of the acoustics. I guess you'll say those were the acoustics for me when I was 8. And I would just play really dark stuff on my violin, and my family was just like, what is she doing in there, And then the older I got, they started really appreciating it. I got accepted into different orchestras for people my age, and it all kind of just blossomed. Yeah.
So were you on the way to become a professional violinist in that, is that the word? Violinist?
Yes.
Is that a word? Okay.
My mother, yes, was very diligent about me becoming a professional violinist, but I have to be honest, they loved some of the jazz violinists that played with Yanni, and it just never resonated with me. I like those harder sounds. I like those more, I guess, creepier sounds. I like really electronic sounding things. So being a jazz violinist just did not resonate with me.
Got it. Yeah. So at what point, obviously, I can assume that being from Detroit, there was the radio, as I hear
Yes.
in several stories, that you hear the electronic sounds.
Of course.
You were surrounded by it. But at what point were you like really getting into it, and then obviously eventually?
My last year of high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was still playing the violin. I was still actively in a Oakland Youth Orchestra, which is was a really good orchestra in Oakland County back then. But one of my friends took me to my first rave, and I was like, this is it. Like this is me. Like I don't know. I'm like I know it sounds weird, but I found my home, I guess, and
No turning back from there.
parents weren't very happy about that. Yeah.
Oh, tell me about that. And I know that might be a cliche question, but I'm always interested in like, parents have maybe certain ideas or expectations what they want for their children.
Exactly.
And then we most of the time we want different things.
Mm-hmm.
Were at that point, did you have like, even though jazz violin was not your thing, was that music something that you wanted to do, or did you have like wanted to be a lawyer, or I don't know?
So my favorite movie growing up, like in high school and stuff, was Interview with the Vampire. So for my music, violin-wise, I wanted to create soundtracks for those type of films. Like I said, very dark, very creepy. So yeah, my family was just like, like, what's wrong with her? Like, I don't understand, Now they get it, but back then they were just like, I like vampire music? Are you serious? So yeah.
I can imagine.
It took some years, yeah.
So at what point? I don't know actually what for you came first, DJing or producing. But I'm also like I mentioned the term techno sisters.
Yes.
Where if I remember Ash saying, you guys were just throwing parties, or like tell me maybe from you said last year of high school or your first rave to you actually really doing music.
Oh, yeah.
Like getting really involved in it.
Like producing on my own.
Yeah.
So my sister started DJing before me, and she was super successful, and she would always text me from her gigs and be like, man, you got to start doing this. I know you're going to be so good at it. And I was just like, girl, I don't know. There's a lot of buttons up there, a lot of flashing lights. I'm like, I can barely check an email. I'm just not very technically inclined as a person, and then playing a violin, that's a different ball game. That's wood with strings on it. So I would just look at her videos and be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So more and more time went by, and I was like, I want to make some techno. I don't need to DJ, but I can. And that's what I told my sister. And she's like, well, it's going to take you some time to get all that gear. It's going to take you some time to get a studio. She said, just get a laptop, start buying tracks, get a at-home setup CDJ-wise, and just DJ. She was like, you're so good with your hands. Because by this time, I had transitioned to being a hairdresser. I've done all kind of crap. But yeah, so she's just like, you're so good with your hands. Like, I know you're going to be good at this. Like, come on. So I started that process. I got the gear. I started DJing. And within a year of DJing, I was producing. I started meeting the people that I needed. You see how when things are in alignment, yeah, I randomly started meeting people that I needed, that were showing me things I needed to do. And I mean, the production thing for me came together within a year.
In a sense, when you say in a year, for you to learning how to make your own tracks, or just
within a year of DJing,
even?
girl.
Oh, within a year of DJing, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I ended up kind of focusing more on the production stuff than the DJ stuff. I mean, I probably shouldn't say this here, but I need a lot of work still as a DJ. Like I'm still learning. But yeah. I got with people that were willing to show me how to set up everything in my home so that I could do it myself. Because I would work with a lot of old school guys, like Scan 7 and Aux 88, and they were really diligent. And Detroit and Effect. That's like my main teacher right now. And I'm like, guys, I need to learn how to do everything by myself in my house in case you're not available.
Yeah.
That was my biggest thing. And they were like, oh, say less. We got you. So yeah, over time, they got me set up at my house. And so now I can just
do your own things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really important there's two ways. Sometimes people like to show or like to teach and like to pass on what they know, and some people do not, and for you to meet the people that are willing to show and teach, that's a really
Well,
positive
they
thing.
did make me prove myself. They aren't going to just give it to anybody. And by prove myself, I mean, they came to my sets a lot of times, dedication wise. I did projects with them, and it wasn't easy. We would get into it about little things here and there, and we're kind of like family, so it all works out in the end. But
What besides you learning and they are teaching you and or like helping you with the setup, I'm wondering what challenges you might had production in your production journey.
oh, many.
Not just on the technical side, like how equipment works, right?
Oh,
Or
God.
like
Oh,
there's
yeah.
YouTube videos for how to use a certain machine. But just like I guess if you even have mentally like when things are not working for me, sometimes I'm like, I get not anxious. That's not the right word.
Oh, I get
like
anxious.
like in my head, I'm like,
I get
am I really? Am I
frazzled.
too dumb for
Yes.
to use really, to make it drastic? Like, am I meant to do this? Because so I'm wondering what the journey looked like. Was it like this? You gradually learning. There's a learning curve, obviously.
Yes.
Or is it like, okay, cool, and then I'm like, fuck, this is not working.
Yes, there are waves, and you have to be able to ride those waves. And I think we can all do it. We're especially women. We're built for stuff like that. The important thing is, in my experience, is to remain calm when you're having an issue. There's always an answer, always. And I, in my beginning stages, would freak out. I'm a Pisces. I'm all emotion. I'm still learning how to control that. I mean, girl, I would melt down. But you cannot melt down because just remember, there's always a way. You might even have to wait till the next day, chat with somebody that can direct you, go on Google, go on YouTube, or just play around and you're going to figure it out and it's going to happen. Just go in with that mindset.
Okay, that's always a good reminder to have,
Yeah,
I guess.
it's going to happen.
Yeah, your production journey. This is like parallel to you DJing because I know you DJ all over the world, basically. How I guess my other question is also like how are you do you experiencing DJing here at home, not just during Movement Week, but generally at home versus I know you go to Berlin often, but also or New York, but also in different outside of the U.S.
Right.
Different from I guess the crowd or like your maybe expectations that you have from the crowd versus the experience that you end up having culturally, the differences.
Well, it's another wave thing. DJing was so busy for me for I would say the past 3 years, and then this year it's kind of slowed down, but production wise it's picked up. So I can't complain because when one is slower, the other one is picking up. You know what I mean? And then in the beginning, the production thing was slower, but the DJ gigs were there. And like I said, I'm still learning, and I got a lot very quickly. And because of my love of partying, I'm not afraid to say I messed up a couple really big gigs because of overdoing it with the partying and not prioritizing rest and being afraid to say no. You know what I mean? So I think it's teaching me. You know what I mean? I don't mind having a slower year this year because it's teaching me that it's okay to say no. You don't have to come to every party. You don't have to come to every thing somebody invites you to. You've got to get rest. And you can't drink a whole bottle of champagne during your set. Well, I can't. You know what I mean?
Neither can I.
So, I guess it's like I'm getting older. When I was like 30, I could definitely do that. No problem. It was like water. But, I'm getting into my upper 40s. So it's like, gotta learn to control.
The body reacts different to things.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like you said, you started with production, or that was your first. Yeah, I guess before you really went into DJing. I'm wondering at this point now, even though you say sometimes this is slower than the other,
Right.
do you prefer one or the other? And then also, how does it? To me, at least, they're very related, but
Yeah.
they're also two different pair of shoes,
Exactly.
and kind of work different. How do you balance it, like for you to like put on different hats
Yeah.
whenever you sit down to do a track versus you go to a gig?
Right. I love both, and it's so crazy because I've got a studio, like a spare room in my house where I do all the production stuff. But then I've got my CDJs, record player records, and USBs and everything set up in my living room. So I have ADHD, and it's so crazy because I'll work for 30 minutes in the studio, and then I'll just be like, oh, I need a break. Then I'll sit on my couch, and I'll just get up and start fucking around with the CDJs. So it's just like, I don't, yeah, it is hard to balance with my condition, but it helps me at the same time. And like I said, I love both so much. I don't really prefer one to the other. I love both. I do enjoy playing for people more. When I try to record a mix at home, I get too much in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But because of the ADHD, I work better under pressure. So when there's people, I'm like, oh my God, you can't fuck this up. Like you got you got to do good, and then I end up doing good. But if there's nobody there, it's just like,
Yeah, it takes that energy that you need,
yeah,
or that you feed off.
yeah. I need
not
the pressure.
there. Yeah,
I
I
definitely
can
need the pressure.
understand. You just said that the production side is picking up and is more and more. I know you had or have still, excuse me, a DJ residency that now
Yeah.
the name turned into your own
Record
label,
label,
right?
yeah.
So I'm wondering, not just from a perspective of a business perspective, running your own label, but and especially I think what I know from Detroit, right, is like independence and resistance,
Yes.
specifically music. So I'm gonna just put that on you, like that's in your Detroit DNA.
It is.
But then what was the other decision that made you to start your own label or be like, yeah, I don't want to really, or maybe not stop completely, but want to release music on your own label rather than sending it to other labels?
It's definitely the control. I am a control freak, but with my own self and my own things. I don't like to control others, but when it comes to my stuff, I need to have control. I love the European labels. They put me on, of course, especially Tresor. I'll always love them. But some stuff they might not want to accept because it might be too hood. They might not understand what I'm talking about. So having my own label is giving me the control to release whatever I see fit and not having to fit into someone's box or perceptions. Even though they love Detroit, I'm sure a lot of the European labels would accept it, but it's just for me. It's for my own purposes, and it's the control. It's like you said, it's the independence. And I also started this label so that other Black women that might not have the opportunity or the resources or just they don't know which people to approach. I'm here so that we can start developing that bond and making that connection.
Do you have also within that label journey, do you also have like a mentor or like several mentors or somebody that you feel comfortable to like reach out with like, yo, how do I do this and
Yes.
that? Just navigating through
Oh, of course.
all the...
My dad, for one, has been a huge supporter of me, a huge supporter of the label. I owe him so much money. I'll probably owe my dad money for the rest of my life, but I've got my dad who knows about taxes. He knows about all that stuff. And then with my label, I just started doing all of the engineering for the projects mix-wise. So Detroit and Effect, a.k.a. DJ Mako, helps me with all that. I kind of submit things to him and get feedback first. And then, of course, I've got Scan 7, who he has Scan Records. So anytime I have an issue or a question, I can just text him or he can come over or whatever. Yeah.
How does it feel so far to like have your own label? Just like from, you said you're emotional, I'm an emotional too. So how does it just feel to have it, to do it?
We're actually having a pre-order drop tomorrow. And there are 2 Black producers, one from New York and one from Detroit, who are joining Realms of Techno, my label. So
That's dope.
I'm so excited. I was just really happy to be able to do this. because I've only had the label for a couple of months, and I'm already on the second release, and I've already found two dope female Black producers to join the label. So I'm just like,
Congratulations,
yeah.
that's dope. Yeah, yeah.
I can't wait to share
yeah.
this with you guys tomorrow. Their names are Father Dukes. She's playing Movement. And the other girl is Y Theta, and she is from New York.
Okay, cool. This interview's coming out a little bit later, so I'm depending on when you said it drops tomorrow. So at this point, when this video is out, or this interview is out, sorry, it should be available.
Yeah, by June 6th is the official release date, so you guys should be able to pick it up on Bandcamp.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
That's so dope. Within like me asking how does it feel in like a positive note, right? I'm sure not just starting the label, there's challenges, but what I wrote down here, I'm just gonna say exactly what I wrote down here. Of
course.
Music industry chronicles. How do you keep your sanity? And that could be anything. And I remember also when I asked your sister years ago, if, I'm sure there's instances within the industry where as a woman, especially as a Black woman, you get treated not the way you should be.
Yeah, sometimes.
And I'm sure within the production world as well, it's as we all know, a very male-dominated industry.
Yes.
And I don't want to like either make you recount negative instances. That's not what I'm here, or like bash people's name. But I'm wondering in general, like what are some of the things that you've noticed, witnessed, and then also what you think could be done to not have happen as often or not at all.
I definitely think there needs to be more mentorship kind of opportunities or workshops where men and women are leading these workshops. You can get perspectives of both. I feel I've encountered a lot of artists that weren't ready for mentorship. So it was kind of, not all of them are ready for that. And I mean, that's not a negative thing. They're just not ready. But fortunately, the people that I encountered were ready. They are ready. And I mean, I was trained by men. I mean, and they didn't play. So they taught me not to do anything without paperwork. That's your biggest thing. If someone asks you to work, whether it's produce a track, remix a track, do vocals, there needs to be paperwork. And they need to countersign that paperwork before you sign it so that you have the agreement in your possession outlining everything. Because that's why you see people arguing on the internet. He owes me money that I didn't get paid because you didn't have a contract.
Yeah.
So I was taught by some real contract stickler types. I don't do anything without a contract. But I still ran into mishaps. It was more so, I was just new and I didn't understand presets. I used to love presets and I wouldn't modify them. I would just throw the preset in a track, and I kind of got laughed at a few times. And they made a YouTube video about me, kind of like making fun of me, calling me a plagiarist. I don't.
For real?
I mean, I can laugh at it now, but I mean, it was a lesson. So yeah, when you use a preset, you've got to kind of chop it up or filter or whatever. You can't just take a preset from the DAW and throw it up in the track. You know what I mean? So I had to learn that lesson the hard way. But yeah, I was really lucky enough to have seasoned people behind me that would I'd go to them like, oh my God, this happened. And they'd be like, all right, let's calm down. It's going to be okay. And now this is what we're going to do to fix it so that going forward, this doesn't happen anymore. And I'm like, okay. So yeah.
Besides, I guess one follow-up question that I would have is, besides the paperwork and the contract, the importance of having a contract or like an agreement,
anything you do,
anything.
Yes.
What, I guess, main or one advice would you give women in our electronic music field, whether production or DJ wise, right? Just something that maybe and it's not like very the craft specific or specific to the craft, but more so like
how to
emotional.
navigate.
Yeah, like
educate yourself. You've got to educate yourself every aspect, because what these men do, and I'm sorry, men, because
we love men.
Yeah, I do love y'all. Some, not all. What these men will do is kind of test the waters to see what they can and can't get away with. So when you come in strong and prepared, and you want your contracts in place, and you've got the advance that you want in place, and all of those things, and you've got your verbiage right, they're going to be like, yeah, this lady doesn't fuck around. She's not new on the block. She's done this before. So let me go ahead and treat her like a professional. So you've got to go in educated, and you've got to have that air of professionalism. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I didn't have that. I was drinking all the time. I was high all the time. I was twerking all over the place. And they're like, I can't take her. Like, what is this? You know what I mean? So I had to learn how to be professional, and I had to get my shit together. And it's worked wonders for me. Yeah.
I'm happy for you. Is there I lost my train of thought. I'm trying to get it back together. No, but I'm like listening and at the same time trying to think of my next question. And I'm like,
it's okay.
oh, okay, it's gone. Never mind. We'll find it. We'll find it. Oh yeah, I remember. And you don't have to answer this, but I think we're similar in age, and I'm wondering if you throughout your career ever felt weird maybe, or like self-conscious about not being the 20 years old and
Yes.
like DJing and doing everything in your 20s, but rather when you're a little bit older.
Oh, yeah, all the time. That's why I'm currently working with younger artists, because they're keeping me in the loop. Y Theta, the young artist from New York that's coming out on my label, I mean, the lyrics that she put together, I wouldn't have been able. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool, because it's got that, she's got the slang, she's got the young vibe. So I try to keep myself surrounded with younger people, because they keep me young, I guess, and I can learn from them and they can learn from me. So we're kind of like, it's like a reciprocal thing.
Yeah, that's dope.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool. Talking about your party or like your residence, DJ residency
Right.
/ party, I guess.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what you call it. How has that been? I presume like throwing your own events is never easy.
No.
And what was that initial idea behind it?
The initial idea still is, I try to keep it intimate. I'm sure it's going to grow, but for now I try to keep it intimate. So I try to have either me and another girl or me and two other girls, and it's called a Realms of Techno night. So it's just going to be those 2 or 3 women carrying the whole night, and it's going to be all of the genres of techno. And it started off as a residency at Speaker Box on Grand River, where I always invite someone. When I do it at Speaker Box on Grand River, I do invite men, but it's a women's, or I should say femme-focused queer DJ night, but I do invite straight men once in a while, because they're cool too. But it's our night. And they're aware, and they're cool with it. And then when I do the party in New York, my first one was at Bossa Nova Civic Club. And I did it with this awesome DJ, Kyra. It was just her and I for the first one. I mean, man, she carried that night. I mean, and that was my first time at Bossa. And I was just like, yo, New York is crazy. I love you guys. So we recently did the next one in March. And we actually had Juana. Yeah. And Daya. So
Was
that was
at
amazing.
Bossa also?
No, that one was at a brand new club called Signal, and that's also in Brooklyn. And that club is popping. So I'm hoping to maybe next year do just one that's a little bigger, maybe 3 or 4 women. And we're going to try to go back and see if Signal will have us back for that one.
So yeah, I've been to that venue the first time, very recent.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, I think me and my
Very
sister are
cute.
playing there together in November. So
The sisters.
Yeah.
are back. That's dope. And what are the in Detroit specific the challenges? I've heard, obviously Movement Week is different. People
yeah.
think that that's how it is
All the
year
time.
round.
No.
But I've heard that's not the case.
Definitely
at all.
not. When I first started playing outside in Detroit, because when I originally started playing outside, I was living in Miami, actually. I took like a 10-year hiatus in Miami, started DJing there. And techno was cool, accepted. But I think my first gig in Detroit was 2019. And I don't know if I'm delusional or if anybody else can agree or remember, but they were heavy on the house music. I mean, they looked at me like, who is this and why? Like they weren't feeling it. It took me some time. And I was only playing at like 135, 140. And I mean, a lot of the parties and a lot of the promoters were like, girl, chill it out, slow it down. And I just remember everything was so house music focused. And I was just like, I'm not changing. So I kind of just stuck to my guns. And then like, I don't know, all these other new kids were doing techno and all these, I just looked up and now everybody's techno. So I'm like, cool. Like now I don't have to,
Now you guys follow me.
I don't
kind
have
of
to
thing.
feel weird. Yeah. I think too, just like newer kids and newer sounds started coming out. The stuff, it kind of sounds like trance, but faster and harder now. So I don't think it was just me. It was just kind of like collectively, the collective consciousness trying to, it kind of sped up and got harder. So I was like, cool. Now I'm not weird anymore. So this is great.
Are you genuinely like the faster and harder the better? Or do you...
It depends. Yeah, when I first came out, oh yeah, I was kind of thugged out with all that, but I'm getting older. I'm getting more back in touch with my emotions and my feminine side. I was kind of stuck in survival mode, masculinity type drive for some years. So you guys, in my music, you'll see the change. You'll be like, wow, I didn't know. I didn't even think she'd even play anything like this. So yeah, you guys will see what's happening to me in the music that's coming out for sure.
Was that a conscious, or did it happen obviously throughout the years to kind of, oh, how do I put this? I guess for lack of better words, put yourself into the music where it's kind of like, not to use it as a therapy, but maybe do use it as a therapy to like, you said you were changing and, get in touch with your emotions to use it to work on yourself, but not like, I'm going to go to therapy and I'm going to make a track like this, but more so it
just happened.
happens naturally.
Oh yeah, it happened naturally because Let Me Make You Mine. It's like a love track, I guess. That beat started off without any chords and it was going to be like the masculine electro vibe. And I was just playing around with some chords and I'm like, you know what? I actually like this. And then I hadn't dated in years and I was kind of seeing somebody, he's gone now, but that didn't last. But anyway, that kind of helped, like, me getting, I think he was here to help me get back. I don't have any bad blood. He was just here to show me that way and get myself back. So yeah, I was just like, let me make this love song real quick. Like this feels good. So it was just kind of natural. I had no plans. It just all started coming together that way.
Oh, that's nice to hear. In what would you in 2025, right? What if somebody who either young or completely, doesn't have to be young, but I'm saying completely doesn't know and just finds out about techno, Detroit, and movement, not just techno in Detroit, what would you tell that person?
Whatever you're into, we got it.
That was very short and precise.
There's so many avenues. There's so many cults. There's so many groups. I mean, whatever you're into is here. I can say that. Yeah.
What is obviously you have your residency, you DJ, you produce, you have your label. What are some of the things, or not just some, maybe just one thing, main thing that you would like to do in the future? Like, do you have certain goals that, like, precise goals, right? Not just like, I'm gonna just see where the label takes me or what I can do.
Oh yeah.
Or what are some of the goals, like, no, I want to do this. I don't know how long it will take me, but this is on my list to do. That you're willing to share.
Right. The queer black femme techno party that's still kind of intimate and it doesn't have a huge lineup. I would like to take that other places, especially Brazil and Colombia and of course Berlin. Brazil and Colombia showed me the most love like I've ever felt. And I saw so many people that looked like me and felt like me when I hugged them. I was just like, I love y'all so much. So I would definitely want to take that party and that concept over there just for those people to experience. because they really love techno over there. Like they really love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot I had a mic. Okay. Keep talking without it. And then you moved back to Detroit. Obviously, you said you were in Miami at
Oh yeah.
a while, but you've been in Detroit since when?
2019, I came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that where? Um, I don't know. Never say never, but I'm like a lot of people move to New York, for example, or like
Yeah.
do other things. Would be like, no, Detroit is my home. This is where
I love
grew
New
up."
York, but those prices scare me. I don't know how you guys do that.
We don't, or at least I don't.
I'm like, when I go there, I'm just like, how do my friends live in this? It's so expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel for y'all.
I have nothing. I have nothing to add to that. Yeah.
You're like, I
Can't
know.
tell,
I don't want to go back.
Yeah. But like also, I'm sure maybe growing the party locally or like continue
Yeah,
to
growing it
just, like,
locally.
home base.
Yeah, and there, right now, I know the other DJs will agree with me. It's saturated. I don't try to have a big Realms of Techno. I had one for Black History Month, which was great. But I don't try to do the big ones here because we have so many parties and there's so many young girls and I don't want to. So I think I'm going to reserve it now for just New York. And if it grows, like I said, to Columbia and Berlin, I'll be happy to do that. But right now in Detroit, it's just the small residency with the two DJs once a month, every first Thursday, if anybody ever wants to stop by. And it's still a really, really good turnout. And I'm like,
Nice.
I love it. I get there early. Whoever I book is always excited to play down there with me. So it's great. I'm fulfilled.
Okay. It's still at Speaker Box.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yep. I'll be there for the next year or so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What do you just had your EP on your label out. You just spoke about your next release in early June.
Yes.
Are there any other releases or other things that you have coming out that you wanted to share with us? already?
Yes. So there's a wonderful label called Activity Vision that Exact, Mark Broom, Alan Oldham, and a few other people that I really respect and look up to are on. I released an electro track on there, which is out now, and it's called Out My Mind. And I do my special male vocals on there. I have a lot of tracks out, by the way, that have a male voice on them, and it's me. A lot of people, they're always like, hey, is that Scan 7? And I'm like, no, it's me. So what I do is I pitch the voice down for that because it's kind of like a spacey man voice that I like, and I don't put a lot of reverb on it because I like it to sound like he's kind of in the room with you. So it's really, really cool how that turns out. So if you're into that more masculine feel, I've got those kind of tracks as well.
I don't have many questions left, but I
Yeah.
want to add on to what you just
Sure.
spoke about in regards to your production.
Yeah.
What is your process like in the sense of, do you have certain tracks that are like you have a certain idea, you sketch them out in your mind, you like write things down completely, like make a plan sort of thing? Or do you just sit down and see what happens? And just, like you said, sometimes you're just in the studio and
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I do have what do they call that? An inspo. Like when you get your hair done, you have your inspo pick. Yeah, I have my inspo track. It's always from Detroit, maybe 95% of the time. So always something old. It doesn't end up sounding like that usually, but it gets me in a zone. And honestly, when I do my male voice, it's inspired by all of my guys, my mentors. It doesn't sound exactly like them, but it just puts me in that vibe. And usually I use that voice for a darker techno track or an electro track. And once I put the whole track together, I call the person Marvin.
Oh, he has a name. Okay.
Yeah, his name is Marvin. The more I work with that voice, I'm gonna put AMX and Marvin just so people know that it's gonna be that vibe. But yeah, once I get the beat done, and I'll just be like, yeah, I'm gonna put Marvin on here, and
Okay.
or sometimes I'll put myself on there and be like, no, girl, you're not hitting it right. You got to get Marvin. So yeah, that's how that goes.
That's okay. That's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are, if you can name me 3 tracks that you relate or remember in relation to dance?
Well, I know this one's not old, but Underground in Black by Ash Lauren. That's my, that just puts me, that's not even like my style, but I just love that track so much. So I'll put it in my sets and speed it up a little bit. So yeah, that one's really, really good. No Place Like Home by Scan 7. That one, I think it's been out maybe 5, 6 years. It's a really, really, really good track. It's not specifically about Detroit. It's kind of talks about places all over the world. And then I would have to say AUX Mind by Aux 88.
Okay.
Can't go wrong with that.
No.
It doesn't matter what the vibe is when you play that. The whole crowd is going off. They love that track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so. I don't know. I'm at the end of my questions. Questions, I should say. Other than like, I know we touched on different topics or different pockets of your career and what you do.
Of course.
What would you? What have I not touched on and you would like to add on to, or like just get off? Get it out.
I think you covered it. I guess I can talk about, since we talked about New York and Detroit.
Yeah.
I'd just like to share, me and my sister are going really hard at continuing that relationship because we both equally love that collaboration so much. So our party, the Underground and Black Party that my sister is the founder of, is an all Detroit and New York lineup this time, like the whole thing. And Analog Soul is headlining, and then we have Rose Quartz, Devoy, DJ Candor, myself, Kindle. So it's going to be a really, really good party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It usually is, but it looks like a really dope lineup. Again, that party even last year and the year before.
It just gets
Yeah. I also know, even though I personally missed it, but I do know you and Ash played together with Analog Soul in New York at some point.
Oh, we did.
So
yes.
it was the sisters and the sisters.
Yes.
How does that just besides y'all everyone being a dope DJ, how does it even feel to be like I'm on a gig with my sister with another set of sisters?
Yeah, that was really amazing, and I loved how, because my style is so much different than my sisters and the other two sisters, Analog Soul. So they never made me feel weird. And Jada Lorraine also booked me and my sister. And like, she was super like embrace, because, I play like at 150. So I'm used to people just kind of being like, you know what I mean? But when I played with Jada Lorraine and my sister, they were like, yeah, like hyping me up, like embracing me, and same thing with this party. So it kind of made that house and techno actually can just rock the party the whole time. Like, there doesn't need to be separate rooms all the time. You can kind of, and the crowd was fine with it. And I was still fairly new, and I'm still kind of new. So I was fairly new back for those bookings. And I was just like me? Like, they want me to? Yeah, I'm like still kind of in awe that I got to do those parties. Yeah.
Any last words?
I'll see y'all tomorrow night.
Yeah, it is coming out when it's done. The interview is gonna come out.
No worries.
Where can people find you and your label, the information of your?
It's just, you can look up Realms of Techno 313 on Instagram, and you'll find everything. Or you can go realmsoftechno.bandcamp.com. And you'll find everything AMX and Realms of Techno there.
Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Of
Again,
course.
once again, I really appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and watching, because I know y'all are watchers. Do all the things you need to do as far as subscribing and hitting all the buttons. Thank you. Thank you again. I appreciate you.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.